Hey everyone, welcome to an open door. It is August 15th, 2025. This is the hour we call sharing the word. We're working with uh, the guide Paul Selleck's The Resurrection, and we're reading the book together. But before we begin, as has become our habit, I have a clip. We're on a lot of these short clips, but I've decided, or at least it feels like it's okay because I can never remember which one I play. So if I played it before, I'm not even going to apologize. It's about 8 minutes long. So let's do that, and then I'll hand things over to Sandra. It's called Honoring All Beings.
When we see you before us in a perfected state, actualized if you wish, we comprehend the aspect of you that has never known fear, never chosen in fear, never been jealous, never been deceitful. The aspect of you that has come in form is here to learn lessons through those behaviors, and indeed you have and may continue to. But you may opt to move beyond them at a different stage of realization than you have come to before. The regarding of the other, whoever he is or she is, as of God, is actually a mandatory act for anyone who is on this path. You cannot pick and choose who is of God and who is not, nor can you decide that one should be shunned or disbarred and another should not. Some of you decide these things through coercion or through the family heritage that you have been born into. We always do this. This is who we are. We always hate them because we always have. And your regard for another at that level of choice, born in separation and fear, accrues more and more evidence of its necessity. Why you need the walls and the locks on the doors, and to penalize some and to bless others. Your regard for another's being, who and what they truly are, must now be seen as sacred. And this is going to be the great challenge in the years to come, because you will see things enacted that will seem to defy this, and you will be invited to hate or to decide that some could never be worthy, either of a country, a law, or a place to be. You will be asked to see some in shadow. They'll be cast in shadow, and you'll be invited to see them there. But understand that this is still deceit. To regard the inherent holiness of another human being is to enter the kingdom, or to realize the kingdom, or the divine in the one that you see. Now, this is an active choice at the level of the personality structure. But when you truly align to the higher room, you come into accord with a jurisdiction that actually bypasses the laws that you have been born into. When you move to the upper room, it is less a choice than a simple acknowledgement of what is always true. Imagine you know that a bush has poisonous fruit. You grew up around the bush, you don't eat the fruit, and you tell your children best not to eat the fruit that grows there, it will make you very ill. When you move to the upper room at a level of alignment, you are no longer saying good man or bad man. You are knowing them. You may be knowing what they are capable of in their lower actions, but you are not self-deceiving by denying the divine that must express as them. It simply is. The bush simply is. It's a glorious bush. Just don't eat the fruit. You understand yourselves what discernment is. Best not to pick up the poisonous snake with your bare hands. Best to stay away from the one who is swinging the machete. But you don't condemn them by putting them in darkness. You stay away from the machete. You ignore the snake and step away, but realize that the snake itself is also a product of Source, or an iteration of Source, because nothing cannot be. To deny the divine in anything or in anyone is actually to enable the darkness. And you do this while you think that you are ennobling the light. I will be a warrior for the light. I will smite the dark people. The shadows will be displaced by my sword of light. In fact, what you are doing at that level of vibration is deciding that some are worthy and some are not, because if you are truly the light, you'll invite them to you as the light that they truly are. You will see the light in them, regardless of what they present, and bless them in their being. Now, to bless someone is not to condone their behavior or their actions. It's to realize them as in the presence of Source. A blessing is the realization of the knowing of the action of the divine upon the thing, especially where the thing has been placed in shadow. The one who has been placed in darkness must be brought the light. You don't do this as a Pollyanna. Oh, there's Annabelle. Her husband left her. Let's bring her some light and give her a happy day. You know Annabelle is worthy of her own relations, of her own being, of her own right to be, and you claim the light that is indeed her, regardless of what she believes or what her husband said or did. It is not an act of pity or even an act of counsel. It's an act of expression. The light that you are in its expression knows who another is, and the benefit is the presence of the light that you are indeed sharing with them. This is not done by choice from the level of amplitude that we teach at. We cannot ignore the light in you, the inherent perfection in you, nor do we ignore the choices you have made, the singular choices that you have made in fear, or the collective choices you make in coercion, or in deceit, or in a lie told and shared. A lie told and shared. Some are more worthy than others, must be seen as what it is, an act of darkness. And to be coerced at that level is to become responsible for the choices that you make in that dark space. You are not exempt from the results. When you turn your back on the one who needs you because you fear her, or you think ill of what he does, when you decide he is not worthy of your compassion or love, you have denied the light in them, and you are accountable to the choice and what that calls forth to you. Again, there is discernment. If the one at your door is seeking to harm you, do not open the door. But understand the light that is still there regardless of what he is doing, and claim the presence of the divine where he is and through his actions. This ennobles him beyond coercion, beyond language, beyond any language at all, because the God within you will always know who he is or she is as of itself. The God that is within you is the same God in the one that you hate, or the one that you would fear, or the one that you would bar from your home. To know God in them is to claim the presence of the source of all things, that is always present, but can be denied.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Cindy, for that. I was thinking about what you just shared with us before the clip about how Papaji, as he began his satsang or whenever anyone came to him, how he would first invite them into his heart, hold them in his heart before any conversation began. And I just had this impulse to invite us all to hold each other in our hearts for a moment. And the warmth that we feel for each other just spreads and permeates us. as we begin talking about these beautiful things. Really like this clip. And it just, I think almost every day I have the opportunity to transcend the initial judgment that flies into my brain about people and things and events and behaviors, and it just never goes away. And I thought it was so beautiful just that to not see the divine in each person that we encounter just strengthens darkness, and that we don't have to like everything that's happening. We can actually avoid things that are happening. That's what I got out of it. We don't have to kiss the snake or eat the poison plant. But yet every day there seems to be this invitation, at least in this world that I'm inhabiting, to go there. And it's a reminder. It's just a reminder. So what we've been doing is we're reading Resurrection, and we've been taking turns with the reading. And I remember last time I had Patricia on my list because I never got to her for reading. Is there anyone else who would like to help us with the reading today? Okay, I've got Cindy and Izzy. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we're on page 22, day 5. Thank you, Cindy. I have a tendency to lose my place. So, Patricia, if you will begin for us.
I'd like to invite someone else. I'm just getting settled, and I'm not
Okay,
right. Somebody else to go before me. Thank you.
sure. Actually, I would like to read the first sentence myself. What you seek in love, what you hope to find in love, indeed will be met by you. I love that. I'm just overflowing with love this morning. I'm loving everything. Okay, Cindy, take it from there.
What you seek in love, what you hope to find in love, indeed will be met by you. A claim of love. I am in love. I am honoring love. I am choosing in love will actually alter your vibratory field to create from this place of being. As you lift your vibration, as you are attuned to the higher way of expressing, the opportunity to be as love becomes present in your field in a way that is somewhat effortless. You are no longer efforting anything really. You are aligning. And the difference between aligning and efforting must now be understood. So, may I share? Sandra and I were talking for just a moment or two. She asked me how I was before everybody. I think Monique was in the room, and I don't remember who else. And I said I was feeling transparent. And one of the things I've learned from the guide and others is when I make these claims, and actually the claim from true sovereignty, which is what they're claiming now and that I'm working with today, is I am releasing the belief that I am separate from source. And I say yes to these words to claim myself as in, of, and with. I am in the source of all things. I am of the source of all things. I am with the source of all things. It will be so. God is. It feels the same. Well, it feels like another flavor of the same thing. One of the things that's happening here is there's a real sense of this, of the expanded state of love or source. Within that, everything that's been stored here, or the next layer that's been stored here, that's been stored as in a lower vibration, in a belief of separation from source, is coming up. And it's being felt on its way up. So there's this sense of, well, there's a lot of patience here right now. It's an interesting feeling. Um, but it's important for me to recognize that when I claim love, that which seems to resist it comes up so that I could choose to allow it to be released. And so, uh, purification or cleanup in any case.
I just like that line about when you claim that, when you do that, you will actually alter your vibratory field to create from this place of being. And that allows what you just said to happen.
And it's just this, it feels like this continuous invitation to relax around it and to continually remember that just because it's always been doesn't mean it is now. You know, it's an interesting feeling, and I'm doing, well, I'm choosing to not interfere with it.
So I don't know about all of you. I'd love to hear from you, but I actually, when I remember, and that is when I remember who I am, and to consciously see the love and the divinity in the whoever I'm interacting with, I feel the difference. I feel the vibrational field change. Richard.
Yeah, great stuff. That's why I love Hawkins. Hawkins provided for me a roadmap on how to increase my frequency. And he did that by measuring consciousness within the individual and the human race from 0 to 1,000. And then he labeled at different frequencies within that scale where each of the emotions you would exercise or under activities that you would do fit within that scale. And because of my conditioning, my mind likes that kind of water. So it helped me to feel things. For example, as he teaches in his books, in order to have a positive growth in consciousness as a human being, you have to be at least at 200 on the scale of 0 to 1,000. If you're experiencing life below 200, you're not growing consciously. And to be at 200 above, you start to grow consciously. And the vibration increases as you focus on increasing your consciousness. And you can actually measure where you are on the scale. For example, 200 is courage. So that's where you start. And then when you get to 500, 500 is love. 540 or 550, I think, is unconditional love. 570 is joy. 600 is peace. And it goes on all the way to 700 to 1,000 is illumination. And bliss is one of the states above 600. So for me, it made it easy for me to say, okay, how do I manifest this? Because my mind has been conditioned to really analyze everything, figure out why it is the way it is. And I had to get rid of that. I had to trust. I had to become open to all these new thoughts and all these teachers. So that's why I love Hawkins, because he gives me a template of how do I measure where I'm at right now. So currently I'm at the last year or so, probably 2 or 3 years, I've been focusing every day by my individual consciousness as a separate self is above 600. It's above peace. That's my goal every day, to be above peace. That includes love, unconditional love, peace, and joy. So, so that's what really helps me. Although I focus and you all have me say I'm being everything, which means somehow I'm everything, but somehow my experience is limited to Richard, the life of Richard, and that's okay. That's my experience. So how am I manifesting the truth of what I am? Well, it's a work in progress, like all of us. Yeah. Some days we're more loving than others. Some days we see the Christ in everything. And one of the things that came up this morning in my meditation, which is interesting, for some reason, the idea, I started listening to other teachers back 15 years ago, I guess. Muji and Rupert Spira were the first of them, and Francis Lucille, for example. And I noticed when they were asked a question, they always stopped. They didn't say anything for a couple of seconds, and then they would talk. And I thought that's interesting, and reminded me of the Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles says, the ego always speaks first. So they wanted to pause, do the pause before they answered the question. My assumption was because they wanted to they wanted to go to the higher room, the upper room, as the guides would say, and be guided on their answer from that level of consciousness. So that's what I love about that. Today we're watching that first sentence on the day 5.
Thank you.
Love us all.
Yes, that was so beautiful. Losing my voice. Yes, I find myself pausing, don't all of you? It's like usually when somebody asks me a question, the first thing that pops in is, I don't know. But when I pause and wait, sometimes something comes. And I don't try to make it come, but sometimes something comes. And sometimes something comes out that I have, where did that come from? You know? So, anybody else want to have any comments about this first paragraph? Izzy.
Actually, I just wanted to add on to something you said, Sandra. You said that, you know, all these judgments come in during the day, but you've learned to dismiss them. And occasionally, and I have the same experience, but occasionally luckier than others. And I've been thinking a lot about something I heard Nisargadatta say recently, which is everything that happens is unavoidable because of what has come before, which is something that Ramesh Balsekar also says. You know, all the circumstances that has come before in that person's life or everywhere makes happening what is happening right now. And that's really helpful to me to get to that place of understanding that it's just this big movie. That's all it is.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just recognizing as it happens, which is, thank you, recognizing that it's just an opportunity for me again. It's just, I'm just gonna keep, I was gonna say doing the work, but I'm not even feeling that I'm doing any work anymore. I'm just recognizing it, noticing it, and moving on to love.
Yeah,
Recognizing, noticing it, moving on to love.
yeah, there's a lightness
Yes.
that has come that allows that just noticing and just moving on. Just moving on.
Just flows right on through, and oh yeah, did that again. Oh,
Yeah.
did that again. And a lightness towards the character of Sandra, that she's okay, she's doing okay. Don't have to
And
beat her up.
everything,
I don't have to beat her up anymore. I don't have to force her into submission.
exactly. And not just the little bits of Sandra, everything about Sandra is just perfectly beautiful and gorgeous in its own right as it is right now. And
So beautifully said, yes. And that's of everyone. Everyone
exactly,
is worthy, like the guides were telling us.
exactly, everyone.
Well,
I
thank you.
recently, one more thing, now I'll say that till later.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. Patricia is sneezing. Are you finished with your sneeze? And now you can unmute.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all. I was rushing around this morning, so I was uncentered about reading, but I'm better now because I'm here, which is so interesting because I'm here, present with all of you. And that's such a delicious feeling. And I've been thinking about how acceptance has become such an important concept or word. And how and that was introduced. We were talking about judgment yesterday. And when I judge somebody, I dismiss it. If I judge something, I just dismiss it. I don't want to read any more about it. I don't want to hear any more about it. I just dismiss it. How judgment has become so ingrained and not conscious. And how important acceptance is because judgment isn't there. I accept you for who you are, period. I accept myself for who I am. And today I'm in the future. The joy that I feel, I am leaving this compound and going to physical therapy for the first time in 6 weeks. And I am excited. I used to go to PT all the time. It was no big deal. But today, there's joy. There is joy. I'm experiencing joy. The joy of leaving, the joy of taking an Uber, and just anticipating that which will happen. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm assuming it will. And in that joy, there's also a little bit of fear. What happens if this happens? And what if the Uber doesn't come and blah, blah, blah. It's very interesting how joy, that anticipation of that which hasn't happened yet, can invite fear because it's future oriented. So when Paul talks about I'm honoring love, I'm choosing in love, something shifted inside me. Oh, well. Whatever happens, happens. I don't know. And when I don't know, there's room. So that's all I want to say.
There's so much in what you said. So much. And I'm torn. Okay, I'm going to comment on it. I want to get on to the next paragraph, but I want to say that I love what you said. The whole idea of contrast, how you used to go to physical therapy all the time, but now that you've been denying it for 6 weeks, all of a sudden you're valuing it. And I think that's part of the human experience. We're manifested into this world of all these contrasts, and that consciousness wants to know itself, and to know itself, it has to kind of be deprived of knowing itself for a while, and then it knows itself, and then there's all this joy and bliss. It's just amazing the way it happens. From a simple thing like being able to go out of the house again. So, would you like to read now, Patricia, or are you open to that now? You're still muted though.
I thought Cindy was, Cindy, had you finished the paragraph? Okay. Yes, I'd be delighted to read.
We're at the top of page 23 now.
Yes. The choice to embody as the true self, the divine, as who and what you are, must be comprehended by you as a choice in love. God, that's beautiful. There is no fear in this choice because there's no fear in God. The trials you have faced historically for devoting the self to source in any incarnation were the cause of much of the fear you hold now. But the prior ways of expressing the old doctrines are no longer holding you. And you are, in fact, free to lift beyond the idea of church or religion or doctrine that would tell you you are not allowed. Wow. To lift beyond the old, to truly be free, to be incarnate in the upper room, and a new incarnation, which you come to through the alignment of will in love. Wow, it's so beautiful, brings tears. And it's so beautiful. It just goes right back to I am love. I am honoring love. I am choosing in love. It's just beautiful.
Any comments on that paragraph?
I think it says it all.
It does. It's hard to add anything, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to add anything. It's like the past is the past. It's like what Richard was talking about. It's like we're, or someone was talking about, we're the accumulation of all that was. But here we are now.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are now. And in this now, we have choices. We can higher our vibration if we choose to, by just being loving and accepting. First accepting, then loving. Because I have to accept before I can love, because I have to be aware that whatever is going on in Patricia world. Thank you.
Didn't we recently have a teacher, one of the classes I think we had, they said guilt is a representation, guilt is from the past, and fear is about the future. So if you're experiencing either guilt or fear, you're in the past or the future. You're not in the present moment. In the present moment, there is only love.
Okay, Izzy, your turn to read on page 23 now to understand will.
Actually, I was going to read, since we're really big on the subject of love. I'd like to read something I wrote a few days ago, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. How does one say thank you to the divine? the holy atmosphere that surrounds, engulfs, and drowns in joy those that are willing to don the right glasses in order to see with one's whole body, not just with the appointed apparatus of one's eyes, to see in a way that wraps itself around all hearts, all things understood or known, all things that come to the senses via the way the body operates. Indeed, how does one say these thank yous through the flimsy vehicle of words? For this one, it's not possible. The best I can do is bow and bow and bow. The Holy comprehends, and it bows in return.
Oh my gosh, wow. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Okay, so
I can't respond other than to say I love you and thank you for that.
you're welcome, sweetheart. And, and bowing to the God, the love, has us bowing to everything and everyone, doesn't it? Okay, let me read. Now to understand will is to comprehend choice and the manifestation of choice. What is chosen in love will not defile you, cannot even harm you. The trajectory of love is love itself, and the path of love, the path of the true self, holds for itself great promise. To deny the divine in the self or in anyone is to move out of love and to claim the self in shadow. Once this occurs, you find yourself bound to your prior creations. The very things you have damned or denied the divine are the anchors to the lower realm. To release these anchors is to comprehend the freedom that comes out of forgiveness. Now, many of you think forgiveness is the act of weakness. She must know what she did to me. She cannot be forgiven. He must pay for what he did. Penance shall be paid. The old doctrines, an eye for an eye, are in an equation to an idea of karma that is born in retribution. To comprehend that like attracts like, what you measure, so shall you meet. The alignment of the divine calls to its own benefit. The rising beyond the law of karma, as you have often misunderstood it, is the gift of the upper room. This does not mean that you are not accountable to your acts, far from it. But it does mean that your acts are now chosen in love, or quite simply the awareness of the omnipresent divine, omnipresent always and ever present. The true self in you, the true self as you, in a newly articulated state, becomes the presence of this as it can and will be held in form. I like that last line, the true self as you, in a newly articulated state, becomes the presence of this as it can and will be held in form. So I understand that presence of this as it can, which means to me that our true self comes to us in its perfect time, or the recognition of our true self comes to us in its perfect time and will be held in form. I'm not quite getting that will be held in form. Has anybody have any thoughts on it?
I had the same question when I first read it. And Cindy has something to say, but what came to me right away was we're always saying we're not a body, and yet, how do I say this? Everything that is happening as divine source, with divine source, in divine source, including the form, not separate from the form. And it's almost as though what's happening, at least here in this form, is that everything is being healed. Including form. So I don't know if that's what this means or not, but it's just like we hold the pain in our form, You've all heard that phrase, don't get so upset, you're gonna make yourself sick. It's be in love and you will make yourself well. And it does happen. So Cindy, you wanna say something else about that?
Well, I raised my hand, so let's see what Cindy's gonna say. When I first really dove into the whole life isn't what I think it is, the first place that I dropped into was to be a spiritualist, and I went through the whole thing. I'm a spiritualist minister, right? And in that tradition, the body doesn't count at all. It's not even like A Course in Miracles, where you are not a body, you are free. Like the people that I was in community with as a spiritualist minister hated the body. And literally couldn't wait to talk to dead people and do all sorts of other things. But most of the people I met couldn't pay their electric bill, weighed 400 pounds, literally the body just didn't matter at all. And in that tradition, and so many of us at some point along these lines, we reject the body and we reject the form in so many ways. And Amy's in the room now, like Jim Self used to say, things you didn't want to look at and process, you stuck in the backpack, which is another way of saying it just became your worldly experience. But since the worldly experience was temporary, it didn't matter because you ain't that, right? My part of my love of the guides is what they are teaching to me anyway, is that human consciousness has made the choice to rise in vibration. And the only way to do that actually successfully is in form. So and in their newer teachings, I got chills. Their newer teachings, especially, they keep talking about bringing the form to the upper room. So we're not leaving any aspect of the experience behind. And when they talk about taking responsibility for past actions and current actions, they're talking about, yeah, you're going to pay off your debt, but we're pulling the fear out of the experience of being human, is what they're saying. And they're pulling the fear, we're rising above fear in the body, and we're rising above fear in our relationship with money, and we're rising above fear in our relationship with others. And so over and over and over again, they're informing me anyway, don't try to figure out what this means and what this looks like, because the human collective has never experienced this. So there's nothing in history to equate what it means to be human in form minus fear, because the human collective was born in fear. But that's what it means to me. I don't know if that answers the question, but it's one of the reasons why I'm all into this teaching. Yep, I want to be in form without fear, and I'm willing to make forgiveness feels like it's just like the Course, this idea of just allowing the stuff that was created in fear to be reclaimed without fear. And yep, I'll pay my bills. And yes, I'm gonna, connect with the people that I haven't connected with. And yes, I'm gonna bless the world and everyone in it until all there is blessings. So that's what all this means to me. Does that land or?
Yeah, totally. Between the two of you, I get it. Thanks.
So interesting, the very next line, I think. Hi, Amy. Just noticed you. Hi. Well, glad you're back. The very next line is so perfect. Now, the denial of the divine in the body itself is particularly destructive to humanity. A cat knows she's holy. She doesn't know what God is as you would know God, but she knows she is of the whole, and her body in many ways is her ideal expression. She is not trying to fix herself. If she has a wound, she will tend to it. If she is hungry, she will eat. She will defecate as needed, but live the life in the body in an awareness that it is who she is at this level of expression. The denial of the divine in form for most of you claims you in separation from your vast potential to know the self in and beyond form. And by beyond form, we mean in a newly articulated state where laws that you have been bound by are not present in the same ways. The weight of the vibrational being that you claim yourself as moors you to the lower vibrational field. I'm going on for a long time here, but let me just finish this paragraph, then we can talk about it. Now, while the body will always retain density, because you are in form, even the form that you have taken can be ascended or lifted in scale. So when Richard was talking about Hawkins levels and being lifted in a higher vibrational field, what I think this is saying is it's not just your psychological, emotional, mental self, it's also the physical self. It's the physical form as well. But this must be a gradual process for the body to acclimate. Imagine that you were lifted to the top of a mountain from the lowest valley too quickly. You would be unable to breathe. You haven't aligned to the idealization of the environment that you now find yourself standing in. To me, that kind of tagged right along with what Cindy was saying and explained it even further. Because I know I spent a lot of time, and I remember Lisa Natoli talking about this too. I spent a lot of time just trying to say, because my body was in physical pain, I'm not a body, I'm not a body, I'm not a body. I mean, just trying to like completely dissociate from the body. And it never worked. It never worked. Until I started just accepting everything and realizing that I could fully accept what is happening in the body, not in separation, but fully with the divine being that I am, and experience it in a whole different way. And Dago.
Hi, everyone. So great to be here. For me, I just want to say that that we don't need to understand anything that's happening or whatever it is. And for me, I just ask God. When I don't know what to do, or I don't understand what's going on, I just get quiet. And I just ask God. And then if I don't know, I'm okay with that because I know that God will tell me or show me when I need to know. And I know that when I don't know, that that is perfect. That whatever is happening, it's perfect, even though I don't think it is. Um, um, and I can definitely say that was my experience when my back went out, and I started seeing a chiropractor for 20, 30 years, and then I couldn't see my chiropractor because I had I broke my foot and I couldn't see my chiropractor. And what was so amazing was that God told me, "Don't worry about it." And I was like, "What? What?" And then I just did what God said. And then and then later on I had pain. And then God told me, just let it just be for a couple hours and then go on. And so it just everything, all the things, and then like I was told, like my feet, I had no cushion on my feet, I couldn't walk. All these things that the body, God is just, and Rama has just told me, don't worry about it. And I saw all of it just start to just go away. And so I just learned that we just don't know what anything means. We don't. We in our minds we think we do. And to just get quiet and ask God what to do. Because, and this is what I've learned, is that God is always always talking to us and showing us. It's just we just don't know it. And it comes in all different ways, and we don't know it because we think it should be coming from a certain way. And that has been my experience, and it's been breathtaking to me. And I love being here with all of you, and I love these teachings. So thank you so much.
Thank you. We love being with you as well. Thank you for your guidance. The next paragraph continues this talk about the body. Richard.
What came to mind in that paragraph, my observation is that on this planet, the human race seems to be the only living species, whether it be animal, plant, or insect, that does not know who we are. And everyone else experiences life on the planet just is. They just are being, whatever they are. But the human species, we don't know what we are. So we go through this process of waking up. Maybe some of us wake up, some of us don't. We have no idea who we are or why we're here. So a lot of the teachings say, just be. Like every other living species on the planet, just be. And in the being, you will realize if you're conscious, we're self-aware. I think that's what differentiates us from other living species. We're self-aware. And so being self-aware is part of our evolution as a race. And we add to the consciousness of the collective by being aware and of who we really are, coming to that truth, and then manifesting in the form, as it said in the previous paragraph. And I think that's what all of us are trying to do.
Amy, would you like to jump in?
I just think that it'll become more clear as we keep reading.
Yes, it will. And so glad to have you back with us.
Thank
Would you
you.
like to read, would you like to read the next paragraph?
Sure.
It's at
What?
starts at the bottom of 24. With the movement of the body, the very last sentence.
Oh. The movement of the body through these attunements has been pronounced in prior texts. And in this text, what we intend is to acclimate the entirety of you, inclusive of form, to an agreement to the upper room. When we invoked the divine through you yesterday, as a great wind blowing through you, a great force of change, recreating you, we were actually supporting you in this, and we will continue to. The process of re-articulation is less about finding a better practice, a healthier habit for eating, a different way of making the body known. Then it is understanding that the divine as form is also omnipresent.
Yes.
Mm.
Just something in me just wants to say, yes, yes, yes.
I love that word, omnipresent.
Yes.
Now you understand that the body that you have taken has a finite span of life, that one day you will be in another form, burnt in a cinder on a pyre or buried in the ground, left in the ocean for fish to feed on. But the body itself is always alive as an energetic structure. And the energy of the body, or what was known as body, even this will move into another form. Now, to comprehend the divinity of form is a very simple act that all of you ignore. I am holy, as is all. All is holy, as am I. But even in the speaking of these words, most of you deny form. You think of the soul, the aspect of you that incarnates and is finally realized in union with its source. But the release of the body does not guarantee you union, and manifesting in a body certainly does not deny you union, although you expect it does. Wow. Well, that's a new teaching.
That's why I have so much problems, I think, with the term the separate self. Talking about the separate self. I don't feel like there is a separate self. But I did notice that Rana had her hand raised and then put down. Would you like to join us, Rana?
I do want to join you. Good morning. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be listening. It is understanding that the divine as form is also omnipresent, always present, always here. And what that previous paragraph was pointing for me was, I'm not trying to make a better Rana. There isn't like a diet to go on or a practice to be had, right? Truth is true. That's what Finding Truth Everywhere has pointed to us. You know, basically the practice is be. Just as I am in this moment right now. And I find this space, I can do that. As I was listening the first half hour and the paragraphs were about love, I felt great resistance. And the first thought, right, before the one that happens during the pause was one of judgment a little bit. Like, what's wrong with you, Rana? Why can't you talk about love right now? But then listening and just taking a moment to sit, that's just another rising and falling, right? As long as I don't completely resist and avoid, right? Shut off the computer. Oh, I don't feel like hearing about love today. Who? Right? Click. As I sit and I listen, and the body does things and I'm listening, something occurs. And the willingness to see love in all of you first, and then to allow that to happen in the space. Something is happening here. Amy alluded to it the other day. The vibration here, I can't even stay in a bad mood. Like I can express it as it arises here, but there's no clinging to it. It's almost impossible to leave a gathering like this and not feel somehow elevated. So that tells me that there's something going on that I don't even understand. But also what happened when it says, this text, we intend to acclimate the entirety of you, inclusive of form, to an agreement in the upper room. The mind screams, yes, I made it. I'm chosen. I got here. And then who? Right? Who made choice after choice after choice after choice to get here? Who's awakening? Just all of that. And it comes in very gently now, instead of the feeling I'm wrong for having a body, for having a mind, for having an ego. It's all divine,
It is.
There's also, I'd like to say one more thing. There's a part of me that feels like in the history of this meanness, there has been quite progress in seeing love expressing as everyone. Like, take the most heinous act that you can think of. There is a willingness to see the love and as freedom of expression there, to look past behavior in the world and people in the world. And now it feels like the pointing is, okay, now bring this into your immediate space. And again, like they pointed, forgiveness is such a big part of that. Just forgiving each moment, in the reaction to it, not the generalized forgiveness. Oh, what you did to me didn't happen or whatever. So that's where I'm at today. I'm just having a thrilling morning listening. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for adding to this. Thank you. I know we all benefited from hearing that. Cindy.
I want to acknowledge at the same time that Amy entered the room, William entered the room. So I noticed. And William, if you could check your email, because I'm about to send a link to your blog post, and I just wanted you to see it first. I wanted to say that. I wanted to read one line from yesterday's teaching, the Course in Miracles, which is kind of cool when I see what we're doing here and how we're here and how it all relates to everything else. So there's this sense that the body is being uplifted and the mind keeps saying, so what do I do about it? And the line I just wanted to read into this teaching, we're in chapter 6, section 3, paragraph 9. says, no darkness can abide anywhere in the kingdom, but your part is only to allow no darkness to abide in your own mind. And as I was listening to Rana, that's the line that was coming up here relative to the clip we were listening to in this reading. Is just, oh, there's chills. So I know it's how often can I notice when I'm damning another? Or how often can I notice when I'm believing the world is real? And it's not even just like when I was talking to Sandra, it's not that I'm not allowing the gunk to come up into my awareness, but the sense of noticing when I'm believing it's true and allowing that to be undone seems so really, really, really useful. And so it's kind of neat when I could see how the tapestry is being built here anyway. And I wanted to read that line is really kind of echoing and reverberating in my space when something here needs to know. So when the mind says, well, what's my job? I want to say, your job is to notice when you're believing you're a victim, or you're believing that others are wrong, or you're believing that, and to be in the pause and to acknowledge that everything's God or everything's love or whatever the word is. So that's what I wanted to say.
Pat, I'm wondering if you want to say anything or read.
Me? Talking to me? You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. I was just wondering.
Well, I just been having a ball here. Everybody's saying such amazing things, and yeah, I really don't feel like I need to say anything. But if you want me to read, I will.
Would you like to read?
Sure.
Okay.
Are we at the idea of rearticulation? Is that where we are, or are we?
Yes, that's exactly where we are.
Okay. The idea of rearticulation in form is less important than you think. It is the manifestation itself of what has always been holy, at a level of realignment where its newly articulated state can hold a level of tone that can transpose matter. And underline that word matter. All matter is the divine operating in a lower density. When you become more spirit than flesh, or the realization of the flesh holds spirit more fully, you in fact become somewhat translucent. The energy that you are, which is operating in two strata simultaneously, in form and without, becomes a vehicle for change. Now, to comprehend this teaching is to understand law. And there is nothing in form that can be outside of God, although the application of the form may be in denial of the divine. Paul is seeing the image of a device of torture. It is also of God, without the meaning or the usage that has been ascribed to it. To realize the metal or stone that comprises the object as the divine in articulation reclaims your alignment so that it may be re-seen and re-known beyond prior edict or need. So all things are holy, although how they have been meant to use or the usage applied to them may be in the denial of the divine. Every human being is of God, although many deny it wholeheartedly and live an experience that is in shadow as a result. But once you understand that the material realm is an articulation of the divine operating in low tone, and what you are doing now is ascending in frequency as the body can manage it, even as your sense of self can apply it, you will comprehend the fullness of this teaching. It's very interesting because last night we were watching this show on PBS. It's called A Table for All. It's interesting because it's about food and yet it's about people people like immigrants and refugees. And last night he was talking about the Uyghurs, I think it is, this group in Western China that I never heard of, but the Chinese people are imprisoning them and enslaving them, and and so this one, it talked about an instrument torturing them. You know, it was interesting that this should come up in the part that I read.
Amy, I saw that you reacted to this paragraph. Do you have anything you want to add?
I just think this is the most splendid thing. I absolutely love it because it's so, it's just, once I understand that everything I see is divine, and once I understand that form is divine and it isn't some kind of egoic projection necessarily, it's how it's interpreted. The projection is interpreted by the ego, but this really does deviate from A Course in Miracles. Although I could probably find some place in A Course in Miracles that would agree with it. But it just makes me so happy to read it. And, the non-dual teachings just tell us that that through investigation, what makes you happy is what's true. And I just love it. It makes me happy to see everything as divine. It makes me so happy. That's why I was excited. I just love it.
I love seeing you happy. I like it when you light up. It lights us all up.
Oh.
And Rana just suggested that we reread this next week and talk about this paragraph some more. Did you want to add to that, Rana? Because we're almost out of
Well,
time.
the only thing I wanted to say is, as Amy was pointing to, maybe this differed from A Course in Miracles, I saw Richard shaking his head. So I thought to myself, okay, so
Yeah.
how is it similar? Right. And what came to me immediately was like, this is kind of talking about levels.
Yeah.
Level of form, level beyond that. And so I'm anxious to hear what Richard's going to say, though. I love that I got that from two people I love so much, and it challenged me to look, right? That was great.
I want to
Richard?
hear what Richard says.
Yeah, let's hear what Richard has. We'll go a few more minutes.
Everyone, my idea of what the Course teaches is had nothing to do with form. Has to do with mind. And the thought of separation is what makes the separation real in the mind. And the thought of separation then makes the individual within the dream, makes the form. So we made the universe. We made the bodies. We made everything that appears to be form in the dream. But it doesn't exist in reality. Only thoughts exist in reality. Well, thoughts don't even exist in reality. But thoughts are the cause of every form we experience. So it's all about healing mind, not healing form. That's why the Course says, choose not to change the world, change your mind about the world. And when you change your mind about the world, you realize that the form is not part of reality. It may be part of your experience as a separate self within the dream. And the guides are in the dream. The guides are talking about the illusion and the evolution of the mind to see the body as part of the illusion that can be form or not form. And the body can be translucent or solid form like we seem to be. So I don't think it differs from the Course at all. And matter of fact, it helps me understand the Course better. But that's where I'm at. Love us all.
Thank you, everyone. When we come back next week, we'll stay on this same section at the bottom of 25 and reread that paragraph as Rana suggested. So I hope you all have a great weekend.